As dawn broke over the quiet streets of Slidell, a faint unease hung in the air, like a storm waiting to unleash its fury. At 77, Walter Grayson rose at precisely 6 a.m., his body creaking like an old house in a strong wind. Old habits clung to him, unyielding after decades of routine. From the kitchen, the sharp thud of the refrigerator door echoed through the house. His daughter, Clara, was preparing breakfast for her husband, Daniel. Exactly 40 minutes later, a sharp knock rattled Walter's door, not a gesture of courtesy, but a check to ensure he hadn't slipped away in the night. Groaning, he eased himself upright, his joints protesting with every move. His room, a converted guest space on the first floor, had been his sanctuary for 5 years, ever since he moved in with Clara. Moved in, what a strange phrase for a man who'd secretly owned this house all along. "Walter, you still with us?" Clara's voice carried more irritation than warmth. "Not gone yet," he replied, his daily quip laced with weary defiance. "Breakfast in 20, don't dawdle." Her footsteps faded, no reply expected. Clara, 42, his youngest, had always been a storm of her own, sharp-edged and distant. Her mother, Eleanor, Walter's late wife, passed when Clara was just 15, and perhaps that loss carved the coldness into her. Or maybe it was just who she was. Walter had stopped searching for answers years ago. He dressed slowly, pulling on a long-sleeved shirt to ward off the house's perpetual chill. Clara and Daniel, a financial consultant with a knack for numbers, pinched every penny, even with their comfortable income. Money was their religion, every expense scrutinized, every dime hoarded. Walter sometimes wondered if they'd understand wealth better, if they'd ever faced true hardship. In the mirror, he saw a frail figure, thinning silver hair, eyes framed by deep creases, hands marked by scars from his 45 years as an electrical engineer. Steady work, modest pension, or so everyone believed. But beneath that truth lay a heavier secret, one that weighed on him like the cables he once strung across the city. In 2005, Walter won $1.8 million in the lottery. He told no one, not Eleanor, already fading from illness, and certainly not his children. Clara and her older brother, Henry, they were both quick to spend, always returning with outstretched hands. If they knew about the money, it would have vanished in a heartbeat, followed by accusations that he hadn't provided enough. So he stayed silent, stashing the winnings in a high-interest account. A year after Eleanor's death, he bought this 3-story Slidell home for $600,000, claiming it was a rental to keep his secret safe. "Walter, move it!" Clara's shout broke his reverie. He shuffled to the kitchen, where Daniel sat, engrossed in his tablet, offering only a curt nod. Their relationship was polite, but frosty. Walter was just the old man they tolerated. "Morning," Walter said, settling into his chair. Clara slid a bowl of watery oatmeal before him, no butter, half a banana on the side. "For your health," she claimed, though Walter knew it was about cost. "You remember Henry and his kids are coming today?" Clara asked, sipping coffee. "Don't hide in your room like last time." "I'm not avoiding my son," Walter replied, stirring the bland mush. "Then why barely a word at Christmas?" Clara's arms crossed tightly. "He thinks you don't care." Walter met her gaze. "When did he last call just to talk, not to borrow cash?" Daniel snorted, eyes still on his screen. Clara shot him a look. "He's busy, running a logistics firm, raising 2 kids. But he always calls when he needs funds for a truck or warehouse." "Funny how that works," Walter muttered. Clara's face hardened. "We care about you. Who took you in when you couldn't live alone? Who cooks, cleans, drives you to the doctor?" "My house," Walter wanted to snap, but he nodded instead. "I'm grateful for the roof." "Exactly." Clara's tone declared the matter closed. Just then, Sophie, his 19-year-old granddaughter, breezed into the kitchen, her college freshman energy a rare warmth in the house. "Morning, everyone!" She planted a kiss on Walter's cheek. "Sleep okay, Grandpa?" "Half the night counting sheep, half counting my aches," he said with a wry smile. Sophie laughed, ignoring Clara's eye roll. "Got class till 3, then work at the cafe till 8, she said, grabbing an apple. "Want to walk in the park tomorrow?" "Grandpa's got the plumber coming," Clara cut in. "His bathroom's leaking again." "I can manage both," Walter said. "Plumbers come early." "We don't know when," Clara countered. "Best stay home." Walter didn't argue. Clara always had reasons to keep him tethered. Sophie shot her mother a frustrated glance but stayed quiet, sipping her coffee. "Gotta run," she said, kissing Walter's cheek again before darting out. The house felt colder in her absence. Daniel stood, gathering his things. "Check the electric bill," he told Clara. "It's high again." His glance flicked to Walter, implying the old man was to blame. "I barely use lights," Walter said, "and TV's only at night." "No one's pointing fingers," Daniel said with a thin smile. "But your pension's not exactly stretchy, is it?" Walter nodded, thinking of the $1 million+ sitting untouched in his account. After breakfast, he retreated to his room. Small, cozy, with a bed, desk, and a bookshelf of worn mysteries. An old radio he'd restored sat on the table, his hands still finding joy in fixing things. Outside, Slidell's spring bloomed. Magnolias, fresh grass, birds chirping. Eleanor had loved this season. They'd sit on their old porch, tea in hand, watching the world. She'd call him a sly old fox for his secrecy, but she'd worried about their kids' greed. "We raised selfish souls," she'd once said, tears in her eyes. A car's rumble snapped him back. Henry's SUV pulled up. His son, daughter-in-law, Marie and teens, Liam and Emma spilling out. Visits were rare despite their proximity. Henry, 50, looked worn, balding, tense, his logistics business always teetering. Walter greeted them at the door. Clara's warmth toward her brother, a stark contrast to her usual frost. The teens barely looked up from their phones, and Marie and Clara vanished to discuss diets. Alone with Henry, Walter asked, "Business okay?" "Tough," Henry sighed. "Competition's brutal. Customers want more for less." He leaned closer. "Dad, got any spare cash? I need to upgrade trucks, or I'll lose a big contract." There it was, barely 5 minutes in. "Henry, I'm on a pension, paying Clara rent and utilities." "I know, but maybe some savings." Henry pressed. "I'll pay it back with interest." Walter saw the same boy who'd begged for a cooler bike decades ago. "No savings, son." Henry's face fell and the visit grew tense. The kids ignored Walter, and Henry barely spoke. After lunch, they left abruptly, citing business. Clara turned on him. "What did you say?" He looked upset. "Told him I can't fund his company," Walter said. "You're heartless," Clara snapped. "He's struggling and you're hoarding who knows what." "I'm scraping by," Walter shot back, "partly to pay you." "You live here, use our food, our power," Clara retorted. "You should pay. Your house," Walter thought bitterly, but said, "Fair enough." That night, alone in his room, jazz playing softly, he overheard Clara and Daniel, muttering about his stubbornness and hidden savings. Staring at his reflection, he wondered if keeping the secret was worth it. But Clara's greed, Henry's demands, they confirmed he'd been right. Eleanor's absence ached. She'd been his moral anchor. What would she think of his lies? Sophie knocked softly. "Grandpa, you up?" "Come in, sweetheart." She sat on his bed, tired but smiling. "How was your day?" she asked. "Henry came. Asked for money as usual." She rolled her eyes. "He never just visits, does he?" "He's got his burdens," Walter said. "That's no excuse to use you," Sophie countered. "Mom's the same. They think you owe them." Her insight floored him. "You remind me of your grandma, truth-teller no matter what." Sophie smiled. "I wish I remembered her." "She'd be proud of you," Walter said. "You're not money-obsessed like the rest." "Maybe because I've never had much," she laughed. They talked about her studies, her cafe job, her latest book. After she left, Walter sat by the window, wrestling with the urge to tell her the truth. She deserved to know about the fortune she'd inherit. But burdening her with secrecy wasn't fair, not yet. Sunday morning brought a headache and the drone of a neighbor's lawnmower. Walter reached for his pills, overhearing Clara and Daniel's muffled talk of bills. Money, always money. In the kitchen, Clara hunched over receipts, Daniel by the window. "Walter, we were discussing you," Daniel said. "Rent's due tomorrow." "I didn't forget," Walter said, pouring coffee. "I'll transfer it today." "Also, electricity's up," Daniel added. "Your share's $400. $400? Walter nearly choked. "It was $350 last month." "Inflation," Daniel said, as if to a child. "Plus you're home all day, lights, TV." "I barely watch TV," Walter protested. The meter doesn't lie, Clara said, eyes on her papers. Want a separate one for your room? Walter knew arguing was futile. Fine, $400. Clara nodded victorious. Daniel patted his shoulder. Times are tight, Walter. Outside, Walter strolled the neighborhood, the sun warming his face. His house stood grand among manicured lawns, a symbol of middle-class ambition. A neighbor, Thomas Reed, called out, "Morning, Walter. Heard the Millers are selling their place for nearly $1 million." "Really?" Walter feigned interest. "Market's wild," Thomas said. "Your house must be worth a fortune. Ever thought of selling?" "It's Clara's, not mine," Walter lied smoothly. "I just rent a room." "Oh, right," Thomas said. "Well, if she ever sells, my cousin's a top realtor." The idea of selling took root. What if he did? Clara would face the shock of losing her home. Eleanor might call it petty, but maybe she'd understand, seeing Clara's treatment. Back home, Clara was in a mood slamming cabinets. "Boiler's busted again," she snapped. "This house eats money. Maybe try a new repairman," Walter suggested. "What, you're a boiler expert now?" Her sarcasm stung. "Or got cash for a fancy fix?" He stayed silent. "Exactly," she went on. "We pay for everything, repairs, taxes, insurance." "I know it's costly," Walter said. "You don't," she shot back. "You live here, use everything, and barely pay your share." "I pay on time," he said, anger rising. $2,000 for a room, $400 for utilities, more than my pension. Where's the rest come from?" Clara shouted. "We're slaving to keep this house." "I'll pay more if needed," Walter said, "or find somewhere else." Clara laughed bitterly. "Where? Who'd rent to a 77-year-old on a pittance? We took you in out of duty." "Duty," Walter echoed, the word cutting deep. Daniel entered, sensing the tension. "What's this?" "Boiler's broken," Clara said. "Ken Walter's got opinions but no money." "I suggested a repairman," Walter clarified. "Doesn't matter," Daniel cut in. "Your share's static while costs rise. Another $500 a month would help." "500?" Walter balked. "I'll think about it." "Think fast," Daniel said. "Bills don't wait." Alone with Clara, she softened slightly. "We won't toss you out, but you need to pay your share. That's adult life." "I know adult life," Walter said, biting back fury. "I'll consider it." On his walk, he spotted a realtor, Nathan Blake, posting a for sale sign at the Millers. "Selling their place?" Walter asked. "Yup, Nathan Blake, Slidell Elite Realty." He handed over a card. "Interested?" "Just curious," Walter said, pointing to his house. "I live there." "Gorgeous property," Nathan said. "Worth at least $850,000, maybe. $900,000. Is now a good time to sell?" Walter asked. "Best in years," Nathan replied. "Homes here sell fast, often over asking." "Not mine," Walter lied. "It's my daughter's." "If she ever sells, call me," Nathan said. That night, Walter saved Nathan's number, a seed of rebellion sprouting. Days passed quietly until Clara confronted him again. "Did you send the rent?" she demanded. "Monday," Walter said. "And the extra 500? "I can't afford it," he said calmly. "So we cover your costs." Clara's voice rose. "That's unfair." "I pay market rate for a room," Walter countered. "Utilities keep climbing, though I use nothing." "You use more than you think," Clara snapped. "Taxes, insurance, someone's got to pay." "Maybe ask Henry," Walter said. Clara laughed bitterly. "He's got real expenses, kids, business, mortgage." "I have costs too," Walter said. "Medications, doctors." "Which insurance covers?" Clara cut in. "You've got savings, Walter." "Where's it all gone?" "I spent it on your mother's care," he said, half true. "Life's expensive." "I don't buy it," Clara said. "You're hiding something. Either pay $500 more or find somewhere else." "Are you evicting me?" Walter asked quietly. "It's business," she said coldly. "Nothing personal." In his room, Walter dialed Nathan. "Mr. Blake, it's Walter Grayson. I want to discuss selling my house." The next morning he packed clothes, books, Eleanor's photos, his radio. His life fit into 2 suitcases and a box. Clara was at work, but Sophie caught him. "Grandpa, what's happening?" Her voice trembled. "I'm leaving, honey," Walter said. "Your mom gave me an ultimatum. Pay more or go." "I can't pay." That's wrong, Sophie whispered. You're her father. Money trumps family sometimes, Walter said. I've got a small apartment downtown. I'll be fine. I'll visit, Sophie promised, hugging him. In the cab, Walter glanced back at his house bought with his secret fortune. His new apartment was modest. Small bedroom, tiny living-kitchen combo, cramped bathroom, but it was his. He set Eleanor's photo on the nightstand, feeling both loss and liberation. Meeting Nathan at a cafe, Walter revealed the truth. The house is mine, not Clara's. She can't know I'm selling. Nathan nodded. We'll keep it confidential. I'll say the owner's selling, and she'll get 30 days post-sale to move. Listed at $890,000, Walter said. Accept $840,000 or higher. You know your stuff, Nathan smiled. We'll get offers fast. Clara called that evening, annoyed. You left without a word? You gave me no choice, Walter said. I found a place I can afford. You're 77, she said. It's not safe. I'm managing, Walter replied. No one's counting my light bulbs here. She tried to coax him back, but he held firm. Days later, Nathan reported 5 viewing requests. Your house is a gem, he said. A week later, an offer. $860,000 cash. Walter accepted. Notify Clara after the contract's signed, he said. The next morning, Clara called furious. A realtor says the house is sold. We're out in 30 days! What's going on? No mistake, Walter said. The owner sold it. How? She demanded. You paid rent. There is no landlord, Walter said. I own the house. Bought it 20 years ago with lottery winnings. Silence, then. You lied for 20 years? I knew you and Henry would bleed me dry, Walter said. You proved me right, charging me rent in my own home. You're a monster, Clara hissed, throwing us out. You have 30 days, Walter said. You'll manage. Henry called next, enraged. You sold our family home. My property, Walter corrected. You only cared about my money. Mom would be ashamed, Henry said. She'd be ashamed of your greed, Walter replied. Sophie called, confused. Grandpa, you owned the house. Yes, he admitted. I hid it to protect the money. Your mom and uncle would have taken it all. Mom says it's revenge, Sophie said. Partly, Walter admitted, but mostly I'm tired of pretending. 3 weeks later, the sale closed for $735,000 after fees. Walter bought a 1-story house for $520,000, cozy, practical, with a garden. He furnished it to his taste, saw a new doctor, and felt alive again. Sophie visited, awed. This is amazing, Grandpa. I set up a trust for your future, Walter said. For college, for you. She hugged him, tears in her eyes. You're the best. Weston tried to reconnect, hinting at money. Walter deflected. Clara visited once, shocked by his new home. We're still family, she said. Family? Walter echoed. You chose money over me. She left without a word. Months later, Walter gardened, sipped real coffee, and read his paper. When Clara's name flashed on his phone, he silenced it. The sun rose, birds sang, and Walter, finally free, smiled at the new day.